This is Retta from the Entertainment Blog coming at you another show of MLB observations and recap of the off season of the 2023-2024 off season going into there. This is week number 5, and let's just start off with the news. The Rule 5 draft results were the A's took a Mitch Spence from the Yankees, and also the Matt Sauer from the Yankees. Anthony Molina, the Rockies, took from the Rays. The White Sox took a Shane Drohan from the Red Sox. Nationals took Nasim Nunez from the Marlins, and the Cardinals took Ryan Fernandez from the Red Sox. Angels passed. The Mets took Austin Slater, then later traded him to the Red Sox for Ryan Almonds and cash consideration. The Pirates passed. The Guardians took Desdefia de los Santos from the D-backs, while the Tigers, Red Sox, Giants, and Reds all passed. Padres took Stephen Kolak from the Mariners. Yankees, Cubs, Marlins, D-backs, Twins, Mariners, Blue Jays passed. Rangers took Carson Coleman from the Yankees. A lot of Yankees players were taken. Phillies, Astros, Brewers, Rays, Dodgers, Orioles, and Braves also passed. Seth Beer is going from the Diamondbacks to the Yankees, while the Yankees took Kervin Castro from the Astros. And this year's draft order is Cleveland. And the Reds, the Rockies, the A's, and the White Sox are top 5. As a White Sox fan, you'd be pissed. The White Sox had a worse season than the Guardians and the Reds, and the two teams from Ohio get a way better draft pick. Followed by the Royals, Cardinals, Angels, Pirates, Nationals. Makes sense. Tigers, Red Sox, Giants, Cubs, Mariners, Marlins, Brewers, Rays, Mets, Blue Jays. That's top 20. Twins, Orioles, Dodgers, Braves, Padres, Yankees, Phillies, Astros, D-backs, and Rangers. That rounds out the rest of the Rule 5, the draft order. Now then, let's get to all the news. Ricky Carter signed a minor deal with the Diamondbacks. I have to make a correction. Last week when I said Oscar Gonzalez, the Cleveland Indians Guardians outfielder, went to the Yankees, I was thinking about someone else. I mixed him up with Oscar Mercado in terms of what I was talking about. Yeah, Oscar Gonzalez is a DH right fielder who, when he was called up the previous season and Cleveland made the playoffs all as rookie, he's a very good offensive player. This year, he struggled offensively and is more of a DH. That's what I want to clarify, not a center fielder. Jose Espada, minor deal with the Padres. Tommy Doyle, minor deal with Atlanta. Ali Sanchez and Roddy Munoz, minor deals with the Pirates. Caleb Ort's going to the Marlins. Tyler Heineman, Mets, an outfielder. Connor Overton, Reds, minor league deal. Mets also picked up Andre Scrub on a minor league deal. Luis Liberato is going to Atlanta, minor deal. Jose Marte is going to the Angels. Mark Matthews, the utility man, is signing a minor deal with the Reds. And I know at some point he'll see some action, but the Reds have way too many infielders, okay? Chris Davinsky is going back to the Rays. I knew when the Rays picked him up earlier in the season that he was going to pitch for them, and he did. Eric Gonzalez, the former utility man, is going to the Reds on a minor deal. Again, too many infielders. Braylon Marquez is going to minor deal with the Astros. I can foresee him pitching in the big leagues for them. Ben Heller's going to the Pirates. The Mets signed Michael Tonkin to a 1-year deal. Jack Journeyman will definitely pitch a lot of innings for the Mets. Dan Altavalia is going to the Royals. I can see him being flipped at the deadline. Alex Fade is given a 4th-year option on for his current contract. Ethan Roberts going back in a minor deal with the Cubs. Leor Garcia, former White Sox super utility man, is signed a minor deal with the Atlanta Braves. Well, the Atlanta Braves are getting one of the worst players that I've ever seen in my life. So good luck with that. Willie Calhoun signed a minor deal with the Angels. The former Dodger and Rangers player who played a little bit for the Yankees this year will probably see time because we all know that Mike Trout and Joe Adell are not staying healthy, nor Taylor Ward staying healthy, so there'll be openings for them. Dennis Santana is leaving the Mets, go to the Yankees on a minor league deal. I'm going to see him pitching a lot for the Yankees. Matt Cokes, minor deal with the Rockies. Juan Yepes on a minor deal with the Nationals. Now, he wins a job out of spring training. I could see him being a part-time first baseman DH and occasional left fielder because he has some pop in his bat. Connor Siebel's been cut by the Rockies. Dylan Coleman's gone to the Astros for Carlos Mateo. Devin Smeltzer's re-signed with Miami because I definitely see him pitching. Jake Cousins, another player the Sox on minor league deal, is not really going to do anything for them. Former utility man Mike Brassaro, former reliever Tyler Duffy, and Sam Long go to minor deal with Kansas City. I can definitely see Brassaro playing a lot of games for them all over the place because they're not going anywhere, and Tyler Duffy pitching a lot of innings for them. Eno Perdomo is gone to Atlanta, and they cut Evan White. I will get to more about that in like one moment here because that's like a big deal here. Franchi Cordero, who was just on the Yankees last year, a longtime outfielder, bounced around, and the Yankees reliever Albert Abreu are going to Japan, so good luck to them. John Mabry is now the full-time hitting coach in Miami. He was the assistant before, and Bill Mueller's the assistant hitting coach, so that's cool. 2 former major leaguers, one like Mueller was an all-star. Joe Kelly's re-signed with the Dodgers. You feel like that's probably the most success he's had is with them. The Phillies announced they're not going to be wearing the red jerseys because apparently Nike is like you can only wear 4. And I'm thinking to myself, like, white, gray, and blue. What's the 4th one? I don't know. Then Tim Fedorovich, who was a catching coach for the Tigers, is taking over the AAA managing spot in Toledo because Anthony Iapase is going to be the first base coach. Joe Dillon's now the assistant hitting coach in Kansas City. And Ray Montgomery is staying to be the bench coach in Anaheim. That I'm surprised about because I thought, Ron Washington would have picked one of his friends. That's what I thought. That's usually like your second in command, your buddy. Sean Larkin is now going to be the player director of development for the Diamondbacks. Brewers have signed this minor league outfielder prospect, Jackson Chourio, to an 8-year, $82 million deal. Like the White Sox have done that with Eloy, and they've done it with Robert and some other guys in the past, and the Braves have done that too. They want to pay a guy for what he's going to do and not what he already did, and they want him to play. They don't go worry about the service clock. And Jim Leyland has been elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame through the Veterans Committee. I'm going to tell you this. He should have been in this moment he retired. I don't know how many teams that he took to the playoffs or to a World Series or win. Like, really good. I'm just a little bit annoyed that Lou Piniella was like 1 vote off. And this is a rare opportunity where he's a Hall of Fame manager, Lou Piniella, but he was an all-star player. So how many managers were all-star players, really? Like, that's pretty rare. Hopefully he gets in next year. Jarred Kelenic, the one-time Mets prospect, traded to Seattle for Edwin Diaz, and everyone was like, no, how can you trade Jarred Kelenic and all these guys for Edwin Diaz? Well, hasn't really worked out in Seattle, not being healthy or consistent. Evan White, Seattle signed that dude to a huge long-term deal, and he's a gold glove first baseman, but he has been healthy the last 2 seasons. And Marco Gonzalez, who they had re-signed a few years ago to a long-term, multi-year deal because he was eating innings, he has not been good or healthy. So the 3 of them have been traded to Atlanta for pitchers Jackson Cowher and Cole Phillips, which just ties into Evan White being outrighted because Evan White basically being outrighted and not going to be in the roster because when you have Matt Olson, you don't need a gold glove first baseman who can't hit. So there's no room for him. Marco Gonzalez was traded to Pittsburgh for cash consideration because Atlanta was only thinking about using him as a 5th starter if there were injuries or as a reliever. The Pirates need a pitcher with Juan Ovadio out for the year with Tommy John surgery and even longer. Wade Miley staying in Milwaukee for a second straight year, his 3rd season overall with them for $8.5 million. He definitely made more than doing this than staying on his deal. And they signed Joe Ross to a deal who could be the 5th starter. He could be a swing guy. He could be a multi-inning reliever. The dude hasn't been healthy. He opted out of the pandemic season, so it's been a while since this dude has played long enough. Rob Thompson, the Phillies manager, has been extended through 2025, so it's not a lame duck season. That makes sense. The Phillies have been in the playoffs 2 straight years. Chris Archer, as we talked about the previous week with Nelson Cruz, he's been hired as special assistant to the front office. AJ Hinch has also been extended, so the Tigers have him there. Announced that Ryan Sienko is the catching coach to replace Fedorovich, and Lance Sawaski is now the assistant hitting coach. And Jung Ho Lee and Wook Suk Go has been posted. Hard to pronounce those names. Max Scherzer, a new stat came out that he's the 3rd highest player on the Nationals payroll, the 2nd highest payroll on the Mets, and 4th on the Rangers. So he's getting paid by a lot of teams. Jose Iglesias, speaking of the Mets, signed a minor league deal, but, I don't foresee him making the roster because they have now Joey Wendell's a backup to all the guys that they already have. Eric Fedde's gone to the White Sox on a $50 million deal. I remember him as a bad back-end starter for the Nationals. And he went overseas and he pitched really well and supposedly won the Cy Young MVP over there. So there's no baggage like the Clevenger with the domestic violence issue over his head. There's really not. So if he's as good as he was overseas, the White Sox get a bargain and they could always just trade him at the deadline to a desperate pitching-eating team or, re-sign him. Now, Mookie Betts, they have announced he's going to be the second baseman going forward next season. What the heck are you doing, Dodgers? Like, what are you doing? The dude might have started off as a middle infielder in the minor leagues and when he first came up, but he's turned himself into a gold glove center fielder and a gold glove right fielder. Like, those are the positions that you want him in. They're like, it opens up flexibility that we can go sign some other outfielders and Mookie's on the outfield. And we still got Jason Hayward. Gavin Lux and Miguel Rojas are not a bad starting infield if you have other players. Like, just watch. Mookie Betts gets hurt playing second base this year. You watch it. This is what's going to happen to their best player. They're not protecting their investments because it makes absolutely no sense there. Kirby Yates signed a one-year deal for $4.5 million with the Rangers. At one point, he was one of the league leaders in saves, but he blew out his arm. It took him a while to get back. He pitched for Atlanta this past year, so I think Texas gets himself another arm in the bullpen. Victor Caratini is now the backup catcher in Houston after they made a big deal that Yainer Diaz is going to be the starter. Caratini is one of the better backup catchers in baseball, so that's a good move. And Luis Garcia, the longtime journeyman relief pitcher, was with the Padres recently. He's gone to the Angels for a second time, $4.25 million. And again, they'll probably flip him at the deadline. Congratulations to Joe Castagoli, the Red Sox radio play-by-play guy who won this year's Ford Frick Award. DJ LeMahieu, the Yankees announced that despite the two Oswaldo and IKF and Donaldson last year, he's going to be the third baseman for the whole entire season. And I love DJ LeMahieu. He's one of my favorite players. But he hasn't been good in a few years. He hasn't been healthy. You played him at first base, second base, and third base and DH'd him. And I've been saying you should play him at one position. But again, he's a second baseman. He's not a third baseman. It's like, what are these teams doing here? A big trade was Alex Verdugo was traded to the Yankees for literally a bunch of crap, in my opinion. His name was Richard Fitz, Greg Weissert, and Nicholas Judi. At least a few of these guys already pitched this year. I think Weissert's pitched this year. Verdugo is not an all-star, but he can field his position. He can play all three outfield spots. He's done that in his career. He gets a lot of doubles. At one point was getting on a base a lot. The Red Sox are giving up again on another guy. They should not have give up on. And now the Yankees have $2.99, and he has a beard, so he's going to have to shave. He gave me a baseball when I went to the game, in Boston. I'm going to be sad to see him go away. And, of course, he and Aaron Judge and Stanton all can't play right field at the same time. And the Yankees still don't have a center fielder, so if they're going to have Judge play center field, it'd be dumb because obviously you have Verdugo, who's a natural-born center fielder. Erasmo Ramirez is re-signed to staying in Tampa Bay. They love the swing guy to start and relieve. Craig Kimbrell's on a one-year, $13 million with the Orioles, and it makes sense with Felix Bautista pretty much out for all this year, maybe a little bit of next year, that Kimbrell just pitches for one season for them. They still got Cano as a setup man, so it's not a bad move as a one-year deal to get him because he had an okay season with the Phillies. Nick Senzel, former Reds infielder who they forced to play the outfield, signed a deal with the Nationals. The Nationals still don't have an everyday third baseman or a second baseman because, Garcia lost his job and Keem Boone's been injured. So I can foresee Nick Senzel getting a lot of at-bats at second base or third base because the Nationals have a pretty good amount of outfielders. They don't need him there, okay? I hope. Jorge Lopez signed a 2-year, $2 million with the Mets. So between him and who they just signed, Michael Tonkin and a few other guys, the Mets are trying to revamp their bullpen on the fly. And then we got Jeimer Candelario signed a deal with the Reds, which I just mentioned how the Reds picked up all these infielders. What are you doing? The dude is a third baseman, first baseman. Well, Joey Votto's a free agent, Nick Senzel's a free agent, but they have McLean and they got themselves the Marte guy, and they have De La Cruz, and they have India. They got too many guys, and Spencer Steer, who led them in home runs and RBIs and doubles and all this other stuff, is probably going to be out there playing left field when he's not a left fielder when he should be playing first base or DH. So that's stupid. Wander Suarez on a minor deal with the Astros. I could see him pitching some innings for them this year. And Jimmy Cordero, another Yankees guy who's just on the roster, he's also going to Japan. So what is it? 3 Yankees guys going to Japan. Brant Brown has been officially named the bench coach and offensive coordinator in Seattle, with Tommy Joseph's an assistant hitting coach, and Tony Arsenac, who was an assistant hitting coach, is now the bullpen coach. Going from a hitting role to a pitching role. I don't know. I don't get it. But that's whatever Scott Service wants. Billy McKinney, though, and Anthony Mishkowicz are staying with the Yankees on a minor league deal. White Sox have outright Edgar Navarro. The Rays picked up Jake Magnum in that player to be named later trade with Vidal Brujan. Taylor Coley signed a minor deal with the Mets, and Zach Lowe has signed a minor deal with Atlanta. Now, one of the last things I want to get to is the last really blockbuster thing that happened before Friday 4:35 on the 8th of December on Hanukkah Shabbat, pretty much tonight, that the Nationals, remember they traded Juan Soto to the Padres? Remember that, right? Well, Padres have traded Juan Soto to the Yankees, who already have Alex Verdugo and Oscar Gonzalez and Giancarlo Stanton, obviously Aaron Judge. And they threw in Trent Grisham. So they're like, we're just going to destroy our outfield. Tatis is going to still be in right field, but we're going to trade away our Gold Glove center fielder and our all-star left fielder. And rumors are Aaron Judge will still play center field. No, you put Juan Soto in left field, okay? You put Aaron Judge at freaking DH. You play Verdugo in right. You play Trent Grisham in center. And then you have Judge start one day in right field, and you move Verdugo to center, and you DH Juan Soto. And, or you play, Stanton one day. Like, they have a gluttony of guys, and it was rumored they're going to trade Verdugo, but they didn't. And the Yankees gave up Michael King, who threw innings for them this year, Johnny Brito, who pitched out of bullpen for them, and then pitchers Drew Thorpe and Randy Vasquez. And then they traded their longtime backup catcher, Kyle Higashiyama, okay, who was on Team USA somehow, like a third-string catcher. Don't ask me despite his name. The Yankees, I think, won the trade because you're giving up a guy like Michael King and Johnny Brito who pitched innings for the Yankees this year, so the Padres already know, and the Yankees already know what they have. And then they threw in two pitchers that are question marks, and the backup catcher, and you still got Trent Grisham, a Gold Glove center fielder. Like, that's a really good move. The Yankees get a Gold Glove center fielder and an all-star hitting left fielder. Like, what more can you ask? So the Padres lost that trade. Because I highly doubt that any one of these pitchers are going to be all-stars for them, and then the backup catcher doesn't do anything for you. So, that was all the moves that just happened in Week 5 of the 2023 off-season going into 2024 season. Let's just end the show with rest in peace of Victor Avelio, who's in the Hall of Fame for Baseball Venezuela. The all-star two-time World Series champion who won a World Series with the Pirates both times and won a Gold Glove when he was with the A's. Excuse me, not the A's, the Indians. Davelli was a pretty good player. He was an all-star. He's not a Hall of Famer or could have been a Hall of Famer. He only had 36 home runs and 329s, but he was an all-star and a Gold Glove winner. Those are always things that you can go, that guy had a good career. He was a Gold Glover. He was an all-star. And he won 2 World Series, man. What's cool about him is he been his career as a pitcher, and then he just changed positions, so that was pretty cool. He finished his career in the Mexican League, and it's interesting there. And he kept playing in the Venezuelan Winter League until the age of 50. And all told, he actually played 30 seasons of baseball as a whole. So, yeah, so he has 1,500 regular season hits in the Venezuelan Winter League and 131 in that postseason, 21 in the All-Star game. Along with in the majors, he had 10 more in the postseason, played 1 in All-Star game, and along with 37 in the U.S. minors, there was 3 minor league All-Star games. He just did a lot of stuff in his career as well. He even started a youth program. So yeah, rest in peace. He passed away at age of 84 to Victor Avelio. Thanks for listening to Week 5 of the Hot Stove Observations. For On the Red Table, I'm Raider. See you guys next time.